Hello and welcome to the build-up in association with Ladbrokes. I'm your host, David Gillick, and I'm joined by Ladbrokes ambassador and former Ireland international, Kevin Doyle. Kevin, how's tricks?
I'm good, David. Good to be talking to you again about international friendlies.
International friendlies, and you got over last week?
A good week.
Cheltenham and all that?
COVID, sat at home, watched Cheltenham, couldn't move. So, probably a good time to get it, actually.
And you're rocking a new top today. What is it? It's a Waterford IT top, is it?
Yeah, Jesus, good spot. Yeah. All the freebies I pull out. Yeah, this is my one of my farming attires, actually. So there you go.
Right. Okay. Well, it's International Week. Ireland have two friendlies coming up, Belgium and Lithuania next week. Just go back a couple of months. I suppose the last kind of international break we had, it was important games. We had a 3-0 win over Luxembourg. Like that momentum, when things were kind of shifting, then there's that momentum. Players were getting kind of stuck into the tactics. It seemed to be a bit of a shift. There's huge optimism around the team now. Ticket sales are up. Good crowd coming on Saturday. How important is it to kind of, or is it important and is it difficult to get that momentum back after like a 3-month break? Or what going into this, like the objectives here,
That is the problem. Not the problem, but that's sort of the key to international football. How do you keep momentum? How do you go 3 months without a game, lads injured? How different? It's going to be a different group. It's not going to be probably the same starting 11. How do you maintain that momentum? And that's the international management. That's why it's difficult. That's why some people don't enjoy it. You just try to keep the same again. I suppose with us, we've another change of coach, which doesn't help. You like to keep the same faces, the same routines. Everyone knows the thing that we're going to Ireland and this is what we're going to be doing. So suppose a new coach to get used to again isn't ideal, but you're right though. There is a good feeling around the squad. It's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been building over 5-6 months. Stephen had a tough, I suppose, start to his reign. A lot of changes for him. All new to him as well. Don't forget, he's learning on the job. International wise and as a manager wise, he's probably inexperienced when it comes to getting a job like this. So he's been learning and he's definitely been improving as he's gone along, and the team's improving. As you said, there's a good atmosphere, crowds are improving, all the things are on and up, and now it's just taking over in international friendlies, keeping that positivity around the place. Tough game. They're picked, Belgium at home. You need to, I suppose, test yourself against the top teams. But to keep that momentum and to blood players, it's difficult when you're playing a big team because you realize if Belgium play well, they could batter anyone, never mind us. So you want to, I suppose, not be testing out too many things and too many players in a game like that, because you can lose momentum so quickly and confidence so quickly. So it's a fine line. But that is the joys of international football. It's so stop-start. It's so difficult to keep some sort of rhythm going. That's the one of the keys to being successful at it.
And what from your experience, all the players get together. It's the couple of days before the game, and like you did say there, there's a new kind of coach coming in. You've got John Eustace as a replacement for Anthony Barry, who's ironically gone the other way. He's now with Belgium. So is this the first time that people are going to see and meet this new coach? Maybe individually they've crossed paths in the previous years, but what's that all like when you land into Dublin, you get together? Is it fun? Is it intense? Is it the training increase, or is it just about managing that into the game? What's the buzz like?
It all, I suppose, depends on where you are in your career and how many international caps you have, maybe what experience you have. If you're a new player coming in now, like Jimmy Dunn, Mark Sykes coming in, nerves, and it's like first day at school and you're meeting everyone, and it's like what's the routine? All this silly stuff. Where do we eat? What, do we change at the training ground? Do we change now? Well, all that stuff you have to sort of get used to. For the experienced players, it's just getting in. I'm thinking of the Matt Doherty's here, James McLean's and all that. It's just another game, another friendly. It's just something you're involved. You want to get through it injury free. You're not going to, I suppose, change the manager's opinion on you in this week, but you enjoy. I always found, especially later on, you enjoy coming in, especially if it's a settled squad and a lot of players. It's like sort of coming home sort of feeling. You're coming in, it's great fun. You've a great camaraderie. I suppose I would have always had in the Ireland team a bunch of players who've been together for a long time. Now that's not the case with this squad. It's a lot more newer faces, but for the older players who've been around, it's that feeling of coming in and meeting up and having a bit of crack and trying to enjoy it. There's so many different groups of players in this with different levels of experience, lots of them with little international experience. That'll be a different feeling for all of them. But earlier in my career, I've been very nervous meeting up with Ireland, especially first, year or two. There was a lot of top players there with a lot of caps and lads that I wouldn't have known that well. So, but then later on, I said that changes. Just enjoy meeting up. Not always for friendlies. I won't lie about that. Some of the friendlies you'd question, and some of the places you might go for friendlies, you'd be like, "Whoa, why am I being dragged? Listen, I've had a tough season or whatever, and got niggles here, there, and everywhere, and whatever, and you're being dragged into random places and random games for international friendlies that you'd have to wonder about." But Belgium at home, that's a good one, isn't it? So you can't argue about that.
It is, yeah. World number ones, and kind of, as you said, you're up against the best of them individually and collectively. You mentioned there kind of some of the first caps, like Dunn coming in, Sykes coming in. Were you surprised with Obafemi not getting into the squad? And is it a big talking point, or is it more like, I know Kenny's come out and he's kind of referenced his load, as a player with previous hamstring injuries and stuff like that, kind of managing games and managing game time. And maybe it is. Maybe this is only a friendly. There's no requirement. Maybe it's more, if it was a competitive game, you might look at it differently.
Yeah, listen, I would, even when I had, everyone has high load. The young players, you're playing lots of games. Even if you're coming in and not playing, it's as I said, it's a sort of it's still an inexperienced squad. Femi's an inexperienced player, so the more he can be in and around, even if he's not going to play the games, I think it'd be a benefit to him. So I sort of, when I hear Stephen say that, I think more of, that's just his way of, talking to the press and explaining it that way, when there's probably something else behind it. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but I would have always thought, listen, come in and train and be in and around, even if we want to not use you and save your hamstrings, whatever it might be. But listen, he hasn't played too many games for Ireland, or have too many caps, and every little bit of experience would help him. If he's an older player, listen, you could, if it was James McLean or, Shane Duffy or someone like that, and you think he's an older player with lots of caps and he's played lots of games this season, had a tough, he needs to rest his body, whatever, I'd buy that a bit more, but I don't with a younger player with little experience. So I think there's probably more to it than that.
And the young kind of first caps coming in, you mentioned that kind of, as you were maybe nervous and getting involved, and there was some big characters and kind of top players when you kind of came in. Like, is it a case for some of these that they have to almost prove themselves, and you're only training, you're only leading into games, It's not going to be that intense, but is there that sort of maybe mindset or mentality that like they have to kind of step up, and there's nerves and they're trying to kind of not show off, but just prove that, I'm here?
Yeah, definitely. There is that. You have, you're coming into a group of players who won't know you in a lot of cases, and you want to feel like you're part of it. You want to show that, listen, I deserve to be here. You want to, like anything, whether it's international or a club or whatever, if you're new to it, you want to show, listen, in training, never mind the matches, never the Ireland fans, whatever, you want to show your teammates that you're a decent player. So there's definitely that. And nerves are good, nerves are normal, nerves are natural. You should be nervous coming in. You shouldn't be coming in your first or second time in Ireland squad full of beans and full of confidence, really not full of, but you should be coming in and getting your head down and just trying to show what you can do in training.
What happens? Is there any examples of someone coming in maybe?
I remember, and listen, I remember Paul McShane's first few Ireland squads. It was brilliant. Ball wasn't coming in cocky or anything like that, but he came in, I think we were doing like a little keep ball, maybe 5-2 in the middle or 1 in the middle or whatever, and I'm looking at maybe not take, but we kept the ball for a few seconds. Paul had to run around a bit, and he 2-footed Damien Duff. And at the time, like, Damien Duff was a superstar, was winning the Premier League with Chelsea, and you're just like, it's warm up in training here, and Paul's just come in and 2-footed him, and he didn't give a shit. And we're saying to him, Paul, to settle down a little bit, like, probably don't 2-foot our best player in a warm up. But you have that exuberance, and Paul was brilliant, a very lovely character. He wasn't cocky so and so, but there was, I won't name names, there was examples of a few lads who come in and you'd be just going, how is he so cocky in his first squad, his first training session, like he's the like he owns the place, and to soon get brought down to earth.
And it's interesting when you say that, because again, new players coming in and they're doing well at club level, and it is a step up, and there's characters, there's all that in an international setup. So we might come back to you on that next time around and get some more juicy gossip. Looking at the games, okay, like Belgium, Lithuania, they're poles apart. So and you kind of touched on that as well. It's like you're playing the world number one, and then you follow it up. Like, would it be a case where if it was switched around, it might be better? Because you're trying to blood new players. You're trying to obviously cement that system that Kenny has really kind of focused on. And it looks as if players are buying into that now. And like, is there a fear that, against someone like Belgium, that we could be torn apart?
There's always that fear when they have that quality player, but they could do that to anyone. But as you said, we're fragile confidence. We've built that little bridge now where everyone is very positive, and you don't want to lose that. You can lose it very quickly. So I would imagine we won't see too many of uncapped players playing in this game. He'll want to get through this one positive result. I don't see us winning it, but just a positive performance, and then a chance then against Albania maybe to blood some of the I suppose players with less experience or who have no caps. But then in that game you want to get a win as well, so to build into our qualifiers. So you don't want to be throwing everyone into that game either. That is a chance to get a win, another victory, a vital victory. Every international game, confidence-wise, just for the manager, for the players, because he's going to sit in an interview after that and he might know, listen, I've blooded players and I've tried a different system or formation. We got beaten, that's fine. But he has to answer to the press, to the fans, to everyone else. Well, why did you get beat? Why have you not been able to beat a team who's should be lower level than us or lower ranked than us? And that's why there's a lot of pressure on it. You don't want to have to be answering those questions all the time. And we've got to a spell in the last 3 or 4 months where he doesn't have to answer those. After finishing last year on a high, he'd like to start this year on a high, I'm sure. So it's a fine line between trying lots of things, trying to blood new players, and also keeping that consistency. And as I said, that's international football. That's the tough thing about it. And I'm sure, listen, he does a lot of thinking, Stephen, a lot of prep. I'm sure he even knows who he's going to play anyway already and what way he's going to work it. But it's still important games for us. I know they're friendlies, and in a different scenario, they wouldn't be near as important. But just in this scenario, still trying to build confidence in the manager and the players and the squad. They're important games in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that momentum and confidence is such a huge thing. And you just hope going into these games that we get something out of it and we build. And I think that's the main emphasis here, is that continual building. Did you find it hard yourself, kind of, at club level, you're playing a certain tactic, you're playing a certain way, even sometimes positionally, and then you come in and it's like completely different. And you've only got a couple of days to, get to grips with that. Is that difficult for players?
It can work both ways, because you can be having a torrid time at your club and you're desperate to get out there and come to Ireland and try something different. So it can work both ways. But it's the same for every team. Every international team has the same problem. So you're on a level playing field. It's no different for anyone else. So I didn't really find it that difficult. No, I enjoyed the change of scenery. You're at your club for so many months of the year, basically every day for 11 months of the year, pretty much. So it is nice to get away. It's a freshens you up. I felt going away in international football, and you can change your form around. You're coming with sort of fresh slate with international football, away from whatever sort of problems you might have at club level, good or bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, the game. Put your neck on the line here. Give us some predictions. What do you think? Saturday, Belgium, Ireland.
I haven't actually seen the Belgium squad, but I'd imagine that even from missing a few, it's going to be good, isn't it? So they have the same problems. They have a new coach as well, don't they? So with Anthony Barry, I think it'll be close enough. But listen, hard to go against Belgium, isn't it? Probably something like 2 or 3-1 to Belgium.
Okay,
they've given us a goal though, and we haven't scored 1 million goals in the last couple of years or anything. So, listen, if we can score a goal and stuff, and just play with confidence, play like we don't, not 90 minutes of backs to the wall. Play like we're building out from the back, still playing good football, creating a few chances. Listen, we might get beat, but we're doing it not under the cosh for 90 minutes. I think that'd be a positive enough result.
Yeah, and then on Tuesday, Lithuania.
Yeah, I said Albania, didn't I, earlier on the conversation? Close enough. Apologies to Albania and Lithuania there. Lithuania, listen, there is pressure on that game because we expect to win it, and that's not obviously as simple and straightforward as that, but I'm going to go for a win there. Yeah, I'm going to say we'll win that game. I'll go for 2-0. Again, a couple of goals would be massive for us. Massive in confidence, clean sheet, couple of goals, win the game, and everyone is happy.
All right, excellent. Okay, well, we appreciate that. We're going to hold you to that. So now we move on to our 1, 2, 3 segment. Okay, so now it's your time. For 1, 2, 3, your chance to win €100 cash, absolutely free. All you have to do is to predict the scores of 3 of this weekend's matches. Kevin, what are your 1, 2, 3 bet predictions for the weekend? We're going to start with England at home against Switzerland.
Yeah, my 1, 2, 3 for Ladbrokes, England at home to Switzerland. England's international record is fabulous. Outside of the major competitions, I'm going to go for a home win. Their home record is pretty ridiculous under Gareth Southgate. I'm going to go for a 3-0 home win to England.
Yeah, okay. Spain at home against Albania. Here's your Albania now.
Yeah, I knew they were there somewhere. Spain v Albania again. You know, you'd be mad to predict anything other than a Spain home win. Again, I'll go for 3-0. 2-3-0. There's plenty of goals here. 3-0 Spain Albania.
Bit of a trend there. And we have Netherlands at home against Denmark. And I think Eriksson is back in that squad. So
yeah,
against Denmark.
Yeah, that's why I'm going for away win for Denmark. Positivity. Eriksson back in the squad. You know, Denmark are really good internationally. Anyway, it's not like they're massive underdogs or anything in this game. I'll go for an away win 2-1 to Denmark.
You want to Denmark. Excellent. All right, Kevin. Well, look, thank you for your time. Remember, if you haven't a bet on anything this weekend, please do gamble responsibly. You can visit gamblecare.ie for more information. We'll be back next week for more of the build-up brought to you by Ladbrokes.